In 1937, a small town in Spain was bombed into oblivion. This event inspired one of the most famous paintings in history, but the story of Picasso's Guernica is about more than just art. It's about war, politics, and the power of images to change the world. Here's how a single painting became a universal symbol of peace, and why it might be more important now than ever before. To truly understand Guernica, we need to step back in time to the year 1937. Europe was on the brink of World War II, and Spain was in the midst of a brutal civil war. On April 26th of that year, the small Basque town of Guernica experienced an event that would shake the world. German and Italian warplanes, allies of the Spanish nationalist forces, bombed Guernica for about 2 hours. This wasn't just any military strike. It was one of the first aerial bombings of civilians in history. The town, filled with people going about their daily lives, was reduced to rubble. Hundreds of innocent lives were lost. News of the bombing spread quickly, reaching Paris where Picasso, a Spanish expatriate, was living. The artist, deeply affected by the tragedy in his homeland, felt compelled to respond in the way he knew best, through his art. Picasso had already been commissioned by the Spanish Republican government to create a large mural for the Spanish pavilion at the 1937 Paris World's Fair. Initially, he struggled with ideas for the piece. But when news of the Guernica bombing reached him, he knew he had found his subject. For 35 days, Picasso worked tirelessly on the painting. He created numerous sketches and studies, refining his ideas and composition. The process was documented by his partner at the time, the photographer Dora Maar, giving us a unique insight into the evolution of this masterpiece. The result was a monumental canvas, stretching over 25 feet wide and 11 feet tall. Painted entirely in shades of black, white, and gray, it depicted a scene of chaos and suffering that was both specific to the Guernica bombing and universal in its portrayal of the horrors of war. When we look at Guernica, we're confronted with a cacophony of images that can be overwhelming at first. Let's break it down and explore some of the key elements. On the left side of the painting, we see a bull with a blank expression. The bull is a common symbol in Spanish culture, often representing the country itself. Here, it seems to stand as a witness to the destruction, perhaps symbolizing the strength and endurance of the Spanish people. At the center of the painting is a horse in agony, its body pierced by a spear. The horse's mouth is open in a silent scream, echoing the pain of the victims. Some interpret the horse as representing the innocent civilians caught in the crossfire of war. Above the horse's head, we see a bare light bulb shaped like an eye. This could symbolize the eye of God watching over the scene, or perhaps the eye of conscience bearing witness to the atrocities. On the left, a woman holds a dead child in her arms, her head thrown back in anguish. This powerful image evokes the classical Pietà motif, emphasizing the human cost of war. At the bottom of the painting, we see a dismembered soldier, still clutching a broken sword and a flower. This juxtaposition of violence and hope is a recurring theme in the painting. On the right, a woman holds out a lamp, perhaps searching for survivors or truth amidst the chaos. In the background, we see a building engulfed in flames, representing the destruction of Guernica. These elements, combined with the fractured, angular style of the painting, create a sense of chaos and disorientation that mirrors the experience of being caught in a bombing raid. Guernica's style is as impactful as its content. Picasso, known for his pioneering role in the Cubist movement, employed a unique approach in this painting that sets it apart from his other works. First, let's talk about the color palette. Guernica is painted entirely in shades of black, white, and gray. This monochromatic scheme was a deliberate choice by Picasso. It gives the painting a stark, newspaper-like quality, emphasizing its role as a kind of visual reportage of the bombing. The absence of color also adds to the somber, mournful tone of the piece. The composition of Guernica is also noteworthy. Despite the chaos depicted, there's an underlying triangular structure that gives the painting a sense of stability. This contrast between the stable composition and the chaotic subject matter creates a tension that draws the viewer in. Picasso's use of distorted, fractured forms is another key aspect of Guernica's style. Human and animal figures are twisted and contorted, their bodies broken into geometric shapes. This distortion serves multiple purposes. It reflects the physical and emotional trauma of the bombing. It creates a sense of disorientation and confusion, mirroring the experience of those caught in the attack. It allows Picasso to convey multiple perspectives simultaneously, giving the painting a dynamic, almost cinematic quality. The flattened perspective and lack of depth in the painting also contribute to its impact. By compressing the space, Picasso creates a claustrophobic atmosphere that heightens the sense of horror and entrapment. Now that we've explored the painting itself, let's dive into why Guernica has had such a lasting impact on the world. First and foremost, Guernica stands as one of the most potent anti-war statements in the history of art. Unlike traditional war paintings that often glorified battle or portrayed heroic scenes, Guernica shows the raw, unvarnished truth of modern warfare, its impact on innocent civilians. The painting doesn't depict soldiers or military equipment. Instead, it focuses on the victims: women, children, animals. This shift in perspective forces viewers to confront the human cost of war in a way that was revolutionary at the time. Guernica's power as an anti-war symbol has only grown over time. It has been reproduced countless times and used in protests against conflicts around the world, from Vietnam to Iraq. The painting serves as a universal cry against the brutality of war, transcending its original context to speak to all conflicts. When Guernica was first exhibited at the Paris World's Fair in 1937, it brought international attention to the Spanish Civil War. Many people outside of Spain were unaware of the conflict or its severity. Picasso's painting, with its stark depiction of suffering, helped to raise awareness and garner support for the Republican cause. The painting became a focal point for discussions about the conflict, forcing people to confront the realities of what was happening in Spain. It served as a powerful piece of visual propaganda, not in the sense of spreading false information, but in its ability to communicate a strong message and elicit an emotional response. Guernica also had a profound impact on the world of art itself. It demonstrated that modern abstract styles could be used to create deeply moving and politically relevant work. Before Guernica, many viewed abstract art as disconnected from real-world issues. Picasso showed that avant-garde techniques could be harnessed to create art that was both formally innovative and socially engaged. This opened up new possibilities for artists who wanted to address political and social issues in their work. Guernica became a model for how art could respond to current events and serve as a form of protest. Interestingly, Guernica's impact extended beyond its initial creation and exhibition. After World War II, when Spain was under the dictatorship of Francisco Franco, Picasso insisted that the painting should not return to Spain until democracy was restored. This stance turned Guernica into a symbol not just of peace, but of democracy and freedom. The painting's journey became intertwined with Spain's political future. It wasn't until 1981, 6 years after Franco's death and the restoration of democracy in Spain, that Guernica finally returned to its home country. Finally, while Guernica is undoubtedly a painting about suffering and horror, it's also, paradoxically, a testament to the endurance of the human spirit. The very fact that Picasso created this work, that he channeled his anger and grief into an act of creation rather than destruction, speaks to the resilience of humanity. The painting's continued resonance, its ability to move and inspire people decades after its creation, demonstrates the power of art to transcend the darkest moments of human history. In this way, Guernica stands not just as a warning, but as a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable horror, the human spirit can endure, can create, can strive for a better world. In the end, this is the true power of Guernica, not just to show us the world as it is, but to challenge us to imagine what it could be. And in doing so, it continues to have an impact far greater than we might have ever imagined. If you enjoyed uncovering the risque secrets of art history, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos that peel back the layers of famous artworks.